Okay, we're back here on Real Build, and primer dried, we've sanded it, we've got everything looking really good, can't see any imperfections. Now we're going to shoot some paint. Now, I stress, huge, if there's any way you can do this in a building that's got good ventilation, that's the place to do it. Out here, we're sticking our neck out, we've got the possibility of contaminations high. It's just not even close to an ideal circumstance. But it's what I have to work with, and you know, we're not expecting a custom high-tech paint job. We just want it to look good. I think we can do that here, but like I said, inside is by far the best if you're trying to do it yourself with spray cans. If you're outside, you're taking your chances. So we're going to start with a light coat. Every time you're doing this stuff, we're always dealing with light coats. So here we go. Now, that's what I mean about a light coat. Very light, just enough so it's going to stick. And now we let it dry for a few minutes, go back and do another coat. So we'll be back after we've done 2 or 3 coats. We're going to burn up one of the color match spray cans. And these are cans that have been mixed to the color code, so it should be darn close. And we'll talk to you soon here at Real Builds. Okay, we're back from Real Builds. We got the first couple of coats of paint on, and I'm not happy. The contamination I was worried about we got, and the paint's not laying down well. So what we have to do now is wait for everything to dry real solid, and then take a hard look at where we're at and figure out how we're going to fix it. Now, that said, it's a dramatic improvement over what it was, but it's not good enough. So whether this is something that we give it a light sand and put the rest of the paint on and then power polish out, or if this is something that's a major disaster and we're going to have to sand out, we'll figure out in the morning. But for now, we have to let everything dry, and we'll talk to you later on Real Builds. Okay, we're back here on Real Builds. Now, told you about the paint problems we were having. Part of it's coming from outside. Went to the body shop supply company where I buy my paint, and went to a body shop I know that's done restoration work for me in the past. Talked with both of them, and their suggestion was the best thing to do at this point was to get as many coats of paint as possible on, get them as wet as I could without getting any more runs, and work it as it's being polished out. Now, the paint match seems pretty good. You can see the front door hasn't been polished yet, but you can see how it seems to be blending well, and hopefully weather holds, gives the paint a chance to dry. We'll pull off the masking, see what she looks like. But initial reaction is, yeah, we put about 4 or 5 coats fairly heavy on so that they were nice and wet and shiny. Now it's a matter of letting them dry and hoping that gives us enough material that when we wet sand it and polish it out, it'll come in where we want. So we'll see. But like we said on Real Builds, we were going to tell you the real story, and this is a real story. Looks like I screwed up somewhere. I just don't know where at this point. Could be from coming out, shooting the paint outside. Humidity is quite high today. Was a little bit windy. Or when I did the final cleanup and tack rag, I missed something. And either way, looks like we've probably got a solution on hand, and we'll see how it turns out. So when everything's nice and dry, we'll be back here on Real Big Builds. Okay, we're back here at Real Builds. It's been a few hours. Pulled the tape. Now always pull the tape when it's still tacky. If you wait till it's dead dry, you could have problems getting it off. You could damage the finish. So just when it's tacky is when you want to pull it, and you want to be really careful, which is what we did. We've now turned it around since pulling the masking tape, stuck it in the sunshine so we can see where we're at, and to help it dry a little faster before the sun goes down. And we've actually got lucky. We explained all the problems. We know whose fault it was. But it looks like the advice we got from the body shop supply company I use and the body shop that's done some restoration work for me has paid off. The paint's a good color match, and getting on those heavy coats has smoothed it right out. We've still got a couple of problem areas, but they're minor, and hopefully they'll pop out when we do the color sand and power polish. The units turned out not bad. It's smooth. Taking our time and getting the preparation work done has paid off, and it looks quite good. Now when you look forward at the original paint up front, you can see how close the colors are. So it's not going to be something that jumps out, and we will have a unit that's more than acceptable to take to a show and shine or small car show. It's not going to be an award winner, but for a shop truck, because remember, this is the truck I drive every day. You saw how I've already got bush piled in the back of it while I'm trying to finish the job off. It's a working truck. I'm not going to be painting the box, the inside of the box, because it's going to get scuffed up again. And one of the reasons that we're going with the less expensive paint on the lower edge is I know it's going to get beat up again. This truck sees gravel, and that way I can touch it up real easy, and it'll continue to look good for a long time. So for the moment, until everything gets solidly dry, we're going to sign off from Real Builds and thank the powers that be that we got away with some mistakes and took some good advice and salvaged the paint job. But that's how quick and easy it is. Even if you're careful and follow all the directions, or at least assume you did, that's how quick things can go sideways. So one of the risks of doing it yourself, and gives you a much better appreciation for the job a body shop does. This type of work will never be as good as it's being done in a body shop, but when you're on as tight a budget as we are, a body shop just isn't a choice. And in spite of the fact we spent the money to get the rust work done, we've been doing the rest. So when everything's dry, we'll be back. Thanks again from Real Builds. Okay, here we are back on Real Builds, and we've done all our masking on both sides, primered, just done the final sand on this side, and we're going to shoot some paint. Now, a couple things to point out. Number one, you'll notice I haven't been absolutely fanatical on painting this lower edge. That's because this lower edge is what's going to take all the rock chips, all the damage, all the problems, always wind up there. And that's why we're using a rust inhibiting spray paint on this lower edge, and one that's off the shelf. When we did the box panel, which we've got very lucky and has turned out excellent, we used a color matching paint that we got from the auto body supply shop. That paint is, between 35 and 40 bucks a can. It's expensive. That's $150 worth of paint, more or less, 120, 150, that had to go on that box panel to get the color to match. Well, we're going to have to repaint that lower edge probably in a couple of years. I don't want to spend that kind of money, so we're using an off-the-shelf color that's close, and it'll look good. And it means in a couple of years when I go back to deal with rock chips and stuff, I don't have to spend big dollars on the matched paint. I can do it with an off-the-shelf paint. So that's the reasoning and the rationale. Because of that, it's tough for me to justify perfection when I know it's going to get beat up. So we've done a good job, but not a radically phenomenal job. And we're going to go ahead and shoot some paint in a moment. Now, let's look at the other side as well. Now you can see here, we've done the same thing. We showed you how to do it already, and we don't need to repeat. But you can see how it's done. It's masked, it's primered, it's set. We're just letting this dry a little more because it was the last section done. And then we'll be giving it a final sand and paint as well. So we're ready to go. We're going to grab some paint and lay it on. Now you put it on the same way as you do the expensive stuff. Thin, light coats. You don't want runs, you don't want problems. So take your time, do it carefully. The other thing we got lucky on is when we were doing the sanding, we didn't have to do any body repair. We got rid of the rust, sanded down the metal until it was super smooth, a couple coats of primer, and it filled up nicely. So it's going to look good. Again, this isn't a show car. It's something we can take to a show and shine, but more importantly, it's something that'll look good while we're driving it every day. So just like the other paints we've used, you want the paint to be warm, room temperature. And you want to shake the paint to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed before you start. And then it goes on in the thin light coats. Now one thing that I almost forgot to do was put a barrier between the area we're going to paint and the box panel we just painted. So I'm going to grab one. Because after doing all that hard work and rescuing with extra paint and work on that box panel, I really don't feel like messing it up. So we should be good to go now. I'm going to give a quick demo once again. Thin light coats. And then I'm going to leave you to either take a break or go work on your project. And I'm going to finish doing the lower edges. Now, we will be doing the lower edge of the box panel we painted, but it's going to be 3 or 4 days before it's dry enough. You can't start putting masking tape on paint that isn't absolutely thoroughly dry. So it'll be a last piece that we do, and then our paint work will be done, other than a little touching up on the step bumper and the trailer hitch. So here we go. So there's our first light coat. Now we will be doing probably 4 or 5 more, all light coats, to give us the equivalent of a 2 or 3 coat out of a regular spray gun. So we're going to keep going. You take a break or go work on your project, and we'll be back when we've finished doing all the lower trim except on the freshly painted box panel. Okay, here we go, back from Real Build. Paint finally dried enough to get tacky. We took off the masking tape, and now we get to get a quick look at our work. Now we're a long ways away from done. This is going to have to dry for a couple days, so there's other stuff we'll be doing. Once that's good and dry, and we're talking about the lower red paint, that's a week. That's how long the manufacturer says it's going to take to get solid. We're going to assume that's correct. That's what we're going to stick with. But the box stuff, the box side, probably by next weekend it'll be ready for getting its lower edge painted. But look at the workman, look at the workmanship. Okay, this is a quick job in our backyard, doing it on the weekend, and we've made a dramatic difference to this vehicle. It's now looking good. By the time we finish doing the power polishing and the detailing and the cleanup, it's going to look magnificent on a budget. Will it be perfect? Absolutely not. There's flaws all over the place, but compared to what it was like, it's a dramatic difference, and it's going to continue to look better as we go along. To give a real good idea of what the truck's going to look like completed, we can see this side. As you can see, it's a good looking truck. Now there's lots of work to go before we're done. We've got to clean up the wheels, polish the wheels. We have to mount the side tubes if we can figure out a way. We've got to paint the tailgate. We've got to power polish the whole truck and do a bunch of detailing. But overall, what we're looking at is a real good looking piece that we've done on a budget. We've done it ourselves over the course of some weekends, and created a pretty darn good looking truck. So we're going to sign off from Real Builds while we take a break, let the paint dry, and we'll be back soon. Okay, well, we barely got the paint dry on the truck, and we've already put it to work. For any of you who didn't believe this was my day-to-day truck, there you can see it with a load of garbage on it that's got to go to the dump. But the big thing is, look at the paintwork. It looks good. Now you remember what the truck looked like when we first started out. It was not the prettiest machine in the world anymore. It had been ignored a lot. It had been used hard, put away wet, and generally just hadn't had a chance to keep its looks up. So now it's a good looking piece. And you'll notice this side, where we've repainted the box panel, blends right in. That's because we used the custom mixed paint that was done for us by the auto body supply company. Now, a couple things we've done that I don't recommend, because I'm trying it out for the first time myself. First off, on the front, you'll see we've painted on a chrome section. This is a new kind of paint I haven't used before. I wanted to try it. So far it looks really good and it's standing up well. Makes for a sharp looking truck without the need to buy bits and pieces. And at the back, we've done the same thing with the step bumper rather than purchase a chrome step bumper. So we're hoping this is all going to work out. Now, we'll know over time, but for the moment I wouldn't recommend trying it. It's an experiment for me. But overall, she's a good looking truck now. Wouldn't be embarrassed to roll into a show and shine when they didn't have a load of garbage on the back. Wheels are polished up. We've done the inside, we've done the engine bay, we've done all the mechanical repairs. All that's left is a few chrome accessories, and those, everyone's different. So we're just going to get it done when we get some time, and we'll come back and do a final look over of our truck.